Hi, my name is Karen Costa, and I'm a full-time faculty member at Jones International University. And this brief video will show you how to track changes in Word to provide feedback to students on written assignments. Let's get started. So when you go to grade a student's assignments, their Dropbox assignments, you can enter grades through Course Tools. And just a heads up, we're going to be providing you with a detailed video on grading student Dropbox assignments. So that's not the purpose of this video. I do want to put how you will track changes in Word into a context though. So just be aware that there's another video with more specific information on grades. So if I choose Enter Grades, you'll see here that test student 1 has submitted an assignment to assignment 1.3. And there's already some test information entered in here, but this will give you a good idea of how you would download a document to track changes. So you'll see the student submission here. I'll click on this arrow, and I'm going to download the assignment to my computer. So now I can open it up and give the students some suggestions through Track Changes. So the first thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to save this file. And I have a process of test feedback for video. I have a process of folders for each of my courses. I'm sure that you do as well. But for now, we'll save it to my desktop so that I can easily locate it later. The other thing I want to mention is I'm working on a Mac. Thankfully, and if you're on a PC, if you're a PC, your version of Word might look a little bit different. So once I'm in Word, I now saved their file, and again, I typically save it into a course folder, and I'm going to select. Well, let's be honest. The first thing I do is I have to zoom in, and the older I get, the further I have to zoom here. So now I can actually see what the student wrote. I'm going to select Review, and then I'm going to select this button here, Track Changes. So now there's a couple things I can do. I can enter text directly into the student's document. So, this is perfectly written, of course, but let's assume that the student misspelled this word, and he or she meant to say grapes. I can do that level of line editing, and you'll see that this now shows up, and it shows the student what I've deleted and what I've added in its place. So this is everything for APA. I will point out, whenever possible, we don't want to do the edits for students, but it's a good idea to give them one example. Use this option, use Track Changes, and make the edits directly in the paper. So the other option is to highlight the error and then select New, and we could write grapes, the word we want them to say in this example, here. So the student sees what they wrote and they see your recommendation. Be cognizant here of how this is going to appear to your students. I try not to overwhelm them with comments, and if ever possible, I try to show them in the text itself, especially for APA. Because if you're putting all of your comments over here, it can get a little confusing and be taken out of context. The other thing that's a great best practice that's been recommended to me, because we don't want to do the editing for the students, but we need to give them at least an example. And then if you see subsequent issues, one nice thing you can do is you can simply highlight the section that you're concerned about. So this is a great way to build responsibility in students around their writing. So you make the fix the first time for them, and then if you see the error pop up repeatedly, highlight it and let them know that you're showing them in one place and that subsequent errors will be highlighted, and that it is their responsibility to figure out what went wrong in that section and to make the edit. Of course, if they aren't able to clearly see what the issue is, they can come back to you for additional one-on-one support. But it's always a fine line for me that I don't want to do the edits for the student, but I also don't want them to be unclear about my expectations or about what they need to fix. And this is more of an art than a science. So do your best to toe that line and to give students examples of changes they need to make without editing their entire paper for them. So again, this is track changes in Word. I've now saved the document. Let's jump back into D2L. And again, I've mentioned there's other information in here, but if I wanted to now attach that file back for the student, I go to Add File, Upload. There's my feedback, double click, Add, and this test feedback is now here. So now the student has their original document with my edits. They have their, again, we're going to go over this in another video, but they've got their rubric, their grade, their general feedback, and then they've got those specific line edits. So what more could they ask for? So if you've done all those things, you've done an awesome job providing feedback to your students. Any questions about track changes, please contact your faculty team lead, and thank you for watching. Bye.